Hello, everyone. Happy Friday to you all. Today is one of my favorite episodes of the week. It's Q&A Friday, so super excited about that. Let me go ahead and get my phone pulled up so I can see your guys' comments come in, your questions come in. So give me a moment as I do that. In the meantime, get comfortable, grab a drink, say what's up, give me some thumbs up, some comments. Let me know who's out there watching. I'm super stoked. I freaking love Q&A Friday. We already have a ton of questions that are in, but I'd love to see some live questions come on through below. I think there's something that's really awesome about answering things like super on the spot live like that. All right, you guys, give me one moment here. Indians play tonight. Boom, what up? I feel like it's like Indians against the world. Everyone I talk to is a Cubs fan, and that's okay. I really don't care that much. All right, here we go. Got it pulled up. Nice. Emily, Nate, what's up, you guys? So I'm going to keep this up so that way as questions come through, I can keep taking a look at that and answering them for you guys. We're on episode 78 of Six Figure Live. My name is Ben Hartley with Style and Story Creative, Six Figure Photography. And Q&A Friday is really just, it's the most open format episode that we do each week. It's the most open format episode that we do each week. You guys get to ask any question you want right on the spot, right on the fly, and I'll do my best to answer. These can be questions just to kind of get your brain going here. Questions about work-life balance, even like personal stuff. That's totally cool too. Growing your business, attracting clients, booking clients, better serving your clients, print products, in-person sales, creative stuff, lighting, gear, whatever you got, throw it my way, and I'm going to discuss it with you guys. At the very least, that's it. It'll be a great discussion, and I think hopefully there'll be some value, some things for you guys to learn. There's already been a number of questions that have hit my inbox, and really what this is you guys get the chance to shoot me an email. One of the very first emails that I shoot out to you guys is one that I'm genuinely curious. What is one of your greatest challenges that you face right now as a business owner, as a photographer? And rather than just me replying back an answer, I find it so much more valuable to address some of these things and talk about it live with you guys, because I think there's so much that other people can learn. Because look, we all are facing the same challenges. We're all facing the same struggles. You're not in it alone. And so I think it's really awesome for us to go over it together. So, okay, cool. Let's take a look here. Renee from Wisconsin. What's up, girl? Super stoked that you're watching. Let me make sure. It looks like we're getting some lag here. All right, let's turn. Dropbox is trying to sync. Shame on you, Dropbox. Messing up with my feed. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Hopefully that'll clean stuff up now that I turned Dropbox off from syncing. And let's jump in. So drop comments below. I guess one last thing. If this is your first time joining, welcome. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for participating, asking questions, and being engaged. The entire purpose of this is for us to be able to interact, to actually have a conversation and talk about things and stuff, and to bring you guys behind the scenes in a super candid, genuine way at what we're up to at Style and Story Creative. That's a studio here, a wedding photography studio that we have in Columbus, Ohio. Myself and two other guys. And so it's really the purpose of it all. So I'm stoked that you guys are here. What's up, Carrie? Jill's in the house. Awesome, you guys. Let's jump in and take a look. So drop questions below. In the meantime, I'm going to start answering ones that have already hit my inbox. And I'm going to prioritize ones that come into the comments, though, because I think they're way more exciting that way. All right, here we go. By the way, I answer like everything, so there's no particular order to these. Sometimes I feel really great about my answers. Sometimes I'm just some guy talking. So here we go. This comes from Aaron. Aaron says this: my biggest challenge is being creative on wedding days. Quite simply, where to stand to accomplish the shots that I need to accomplish. Aaron, I guess I've got a couple thoughts here for you. My first is this, there's no, we've all been there. Like, if you're just starting out, it just takes practice. It just takes showing up every single day, showing up and just keep practicing. I guess I do have a couple more practical tips than that. Cause I know just to say practice is kind of like a lame answer, but it's the truth. You got to show up and put in the work. As far as a further tip on that, I really prefer prime lenses. And you could talk all about, sharpness and image quality, vignetting, chromatic aberration, like focus speed, IQ, all that kind of stuff about lenses. But the one reason why I use prime lenses is because they force me to move my body. They force me to hustle. They force me to like use my legs and walk around and get high and get low and get close and get far away, rather than just staying still. With the zoom lens, a 24-70, for example, you're going to get lazy and you're just going to be like zooming in and out, and it's not going to really challenge you, I don't feel like, as a photographer, where a prime would. And so my encouragement would be this: use a 50 prime, use a 35 prime. Challenge yourself to use a 35 prime on start with an engagement session, and just rock that. Like, just try to rock that the entire shoot and move your body all over the damn place. And I think that's going to do the best job for you, Aaron. So thanks for that question. Let's keep going. Who else is just dropped in? Victoria. Hey, Carolina. What's up, girl? Hello. Hey, I got your message. That's super cool. Carolina. So, okay. Anyhow, let's keep going. Next up on our questions. All right, here we go. My biggest challenge in my wedding photography career has been how to get into the league of top, well-paid premium photographers in my industry, which is West Africa, Nigeria. Well, when I first got this question, I was like, West Africa, Nigeria? I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I don't know anything about your market. And then I just realized, look, it's the same. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter if you're in West Africa, Nigeria, if you're in this tiny, bodank little small town, in the United States or somewhere else, or you're in New York or Chicago. The way to begin to escalate your business to be in the top paid premium photographers in the industry is simply like provide greater value. That's what you got to do. And so I don't know exactly what that would look like more specifically in Nigeria, but you have to show up and provide greater value. It also kind of felt like when I was reading this question that there seems to be, you put it this, you say, how do I get into the league of premium photographers? And when you worded it that way, I kind of felt like maybe is there some sort of like group there? Is there a clique that you're trying to align yourself with? Is there like a pack that you want to quote run with in your area? And if that's the case, yes, show up, provide greater value, but also start to network. I think that networking has nothing will begin to kind of like get you into groups of people just like than networking and showing up and talking and connecting and commenting on blogs and liking their work and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, maybe I'm reading into the question, but it kind of felt like that was a goal of yours. Just meet people, talk to people. Anyhow, we're going to keep going. Who else is here? Emily, Dave, what's up, Dave? Renee says, not just you, Emily. Yep, absolutely. You're totally right. Thanks for giving her some love, Renee. Okay, this comes from Ellie. Ellie says this, I struggle with spending countless hours on my computer playing with Photoshop, trying to figure out how to fix images that I messed up while shooting. All right. She says this, furthermore, it's hit and miss. Sometimes I do great things and wonderful pictures come out, and other times I panic in the situation and I don't get images that you'd like. Ellie, can I start by telling you this? This happens to everyone. Like even the best of the best photographers, the ones that you've put up on a pedestal and that we all look at, it happens to them too, right? Sometimes like lighting conditions just blow, right? And sometimes the client connection just sucks, and sometimes we're having off days. And so for starters, once again, you're not alone. This happens all the time. And so I think one of the things is don't get too down on yourself about it. Shoot like mad, shoot like crazy, and try to pull the best out of there. The next is this. I think you're onto something in that you're trying to fix things in Photoshop. When I first started out, I was a mediocre photographer, quite candidly. And then I'd go back to the editing room and I would try to save mediocre images in Photoshop. And I would end up over editing stuff, and it ended up looking like over edited mediocre work is what ended up happening. And so I would say stop focusing on the Photoshop end of it and the countless hours there, and go back to the drawing board with your shooting. I don't know what you're shooting on and with, but getting in right in camera does have immense value. And so a couple tips maybe along these lines would be, again, I guess I haven't seen your work. I don't know what you're struggling with exactly, but there's a couple tools, even in regards to like white balance. I think one of the trickiest things that many photographers struggle with is their white balance, especially with like green cast. When the sun is coming down through trees and it's hitting the grass, and then the light is reflecting back up and you're getting green and yellow skin tones. There's a tool out there called an expo disc that can really help you to dial in, not just exposure, it does exposure too, but also a custom white balance that I found that really can help clean up the editing process. Again, I don't really know where you're struggling with in regards to shooting, but I would pause on the whole Photoshop thing. And to be honest, I wouldn't even be using Photoshop. Like, I think it's all Lightroom. And that's for portraits and weddings. That's where I believe our time is best spent, is in Lightroom and not Photoshop. I think even as you talk about wasting hours, I think Photoshop invites you to waste hours. And Lightroom has so much more power to move efficiently through. So, let's keep going. Let's see what else. Dave Johnson. Hey, Dave. What's up, man? Dave says this. If you were just launching your wedding business and you did not have a space to meet clients, where would you meet your clients? Dave, I did not have a space to meet clients in up until like this last year. Okay. So we booked, a $20,000 wedding in my 2-bedroom apartment, like down in this little room with a newborn baby upstairs and a puppy. Like you don't have to have a separate space. You don't even have to have a separate space for in-person sales. All right. People talk all the time about you need that. And yes, it's great, right? It'll certainly help. But I think that we are often looking for excuses to not do something. Well, I can't do in-person sales. I can't do an album design live with them. I can't meet with my clients live in person because I don't have a space. And I think we're just looking for an excuse. So, I mean, literally, we still used our apartment, man. We used our living room. And we treated that space as best as we could. We controlled everything that we could to make it feel as nice as possible. But even today, there's times that I actually prefer to meet with couples, meet with clients in my house, like in my home, just in the living room. And again, dude, I just got a home this year. All before that, it was just apartment life. It was just apartment living. And we were booking $20,000 weddings in an apartment. So that's what I would do. I would literally, I would actually encourage you don't go rent a space, right? When we're talking about creating a sustainable business, I get real nervous when I see photographers who don't really have the revenue generating yet. And then they're out there dropping $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month on a space. And it makes me nervous. I would say get things ramped up and just use your own space that you currently have, and just, again, treat it. Yes, it's your living space, but treat it like it's also your client meeting space. And so maybe the decor is great, huge canvases of your clients. I mean, that's honestly the decor in our apartment's house for the last 3 years was photographs of other couples. Just is what it is. I mean, and you're welcome to change that stuff out, like treat it like a uniform, so to speak. Like, all right, someone's coming over, let's change all the artwork in our house. And that's fine. But you absolutely can do that, Dave. Great question, man. And you know what, too, on that note, I would even encourage you to do it at your house over meeting at like Starbucks or Panera Bread or some other coffee shop, because in those environments, you can't control that environment, right? In your apartment, you can control the environment, right? You can set the mood lighting. You can make sure that the smells are all going to be great. You can make sure there's not going to be a baby crying, an argument happening with a breaking up couple next to you. Your internet, you're going to be able to maintain, being able to show large imagery. Again, the artwork on the walls, like sight, all your senses, sight, smell, taste. You can provide your own food, wine. It all comes down to that. And so I would even recommend it over doing any other kind of external route that you would have. So great question, dude. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Let's see here. Okay, sweet. This is a question that I think a lot of us struggle with when first starting out. This came from Samantha, and Samantha says this: there are about two photographers. Let's see. Oh, here we go. There are two photographers that everyone seems to go for within go to within a 40-mile radius, right? Their loyalty is to these two other photographers. Being new to the scene, it's really hard to break into that crowd and actually attract clients when there's these other two photographers that are just essentially booking everyone else, right? Again, she's from a small town. It looks like it's a budget community that she's in, and everyone's just going to these other two people. So how does she end up attracting new leads? How does she get her name out there? This goes back to my question about Africa and Nigeria. There's kind of two things that you need to do. And the one main thing that you need to do is differentiate yourself from their business. And so I think that the pull for us is we often think, well, that means I've got to compete on price. That means I've got to undercut them in order to attract clients. And I think that once again, that's a lie that we believe. We think that all clients want, all they're looking at is dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs. Even in the way that you described this answer, you said you come from a budget community. I understand that. I get that it's not, New York or Chicago or whatever it may be, but it's often a lie that we believe that everyone's competing on price. Instead, rather than decreasing your value, decreasing your cost to compete with them, increase the value that you offer your client or offer your clients, that you offer the leads. And so there's a number of ways that you could do that. Number one is my guess is this. My guess is that they're all just emailing and they're just sending out their information. I bet if you actually started to really give a damn about people and really start caring and picking up the phone and connecting in such a genuine way and asking very real questions, not assuming you know what a client means when they say that they want to do a photo shoot with their daughter because they love their daughter, but to dig deeper and ask, what do you mean by that? What do you mean when you say you love your daughter? What does that look like? When you start to really invest in that, I think great things start to occur from a value standpoint. Additionally, differentiate yourself, right? If they're both doing all, outdoor prop heavy, family portraiture, maybe you switch it up and you start offering, one light studio classic timeless portraiture. I don't know. I mean, I would just take a look at what they're doing and figure out a way to do something different, to put a spin on it or go completely in the opposite direction. And then value, right? As far as breaking into the market, I will say this. Look, if you're just getting started, I do actually think that it is okay to come in 20% under, your current market price. But make sure you get this big but, okay? You cannot stay there. You cannot stay there. Please do not try to compete on price. If you need to get a surge of clients, a little boost in leads, it's okay, but bring it up, right? Don't stay there. Don't settle with that. And don't believe the lie that if you start increasing your prices, you're going to disappoint people or lose clients, whatever it may be, okay? So that's what I got to say to that. All right, great question, Samantha. Thanks for asking it. Let's keep going, you guys. All right. Here's another one. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'm going to try to read this verbatim. Sometimes it's really tricky. People do like typos all the time. And so as I'm reading these questions, I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Okay, I really want to be able to do it all, have the job that I love. Photography is what they're implying, instead of working 3 jobs, right, and barely getting by. So right now, this person's currently working 3 jobs, but they want to be just a photographer. I really want to be able... I guess that's it. I feel like I'm missing something here. It sounds like she's working 3 jobs and she's just trying to figure out how to make wedding photography the sole source of income, the way to go. I guess this. You're already on the right track. Let me just tell you that. And for everyone watching, you're already on the right track. Look, there is no magic bullet that's just going to be like, all right, let's just I'm going to do these 3 things that this one person said, or I'm going to attend this thing, or I'm going to buy this camera and it'll work and I'll be able to quit my 3-day jobs and go full-time with photography, right? There truly is not. You have to put in the work. You have to practice, thrash, do the research, show up every day and go hard at it. And yet, you're currently winning. You're currently winning because although there's no magic bullet, the absolute fastest way to dramatically scale your business is to learn from others' mistakes, to be humble, to put yourself out there, and to try to learn from people who have come before you, right? And so keep learning, keep putting yourself out there, like keep showing up, keep asking me questions. Like I think the times that I invested back in myself as a business owner and tried to learn from people who came before me, holy crap, you guys, that's when like the growth was exponential, right? I attended a number of workshops back in 2013. I did a one-on-one mentorship at WPPI, and through that mentorship, it completely changed the way that I do in-person sales and exploded the growth of my business. And I'm bringing this up because, again, I want to encourage you that you're on the right track, right? You're on the right track. Learn from people who've already made the mistakes. Learn from people who've already gone before you, right? And keep pouring yourself into that. On top of it, don't start actually showing up and doing the work, okay? Keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting. All right, you guys, let's keep going. Amy Plum, what's up, girl? Amy says this: did you ever plan to expand Style and Story outside of Columbus area with more photographers? Hey, Amy, great question. So for those of you who don't know, Style and Story Creative, there's 3 full-time photographers here. There's myself, there's Ben Adams, and Stephen Lowe. They're both not here because I give them Friday off. They don't have to work Fridays because they're going to sometimes shoot a wedding. It says every single Friday, the whole crew is off except for me because that's the day, like it's what I get for like running things. I got to show it for you guys, right? So no, I have no interest in expanding Style and Story Creative outside of the Columbus area. To be honest, like my goals in life, honestly, they're changing more and more. For those of you who don't know, I've got a 2-year-old daughter, and I just found out that we're having twins. And so more and more, my goals are about showing up every day and loving the shit out of my wife and my daughters. So I don't know how else to say it. Like, I just want to be so present and just like give them so much joy and love and care. And so there's that. And then there's giving you guys love and care and trying to help you guys out as much as possible. That's where my attention is. That's where my entire focus is. It's on you guys and my family. So that being said, nope. I'm not growing Style and Story Creative any further. We're hanging out. We're loving our clients. We're doing our job well. But my focus is on you guys and then my home. So great question, Amy. Thanks for asking, girl. Okay, let's keep going. This was an interesting one. This comes from a girl, Christine. Christine asked me this question, and then I immediately responded to it because I was an art major, you guys, in college. So a BFA, I was an oil painter in college, and this relates to that. So here's what she says. She says this: look, I make great money with my portraiture. However, my heart isn't there. My heart is with, she said photographs without people in it. I'm going to interpret that as landscapes. So she loves landscapes. Her heart's all in landscapes. Her passion's in landscapes. But she can't make any money doing landscapes because no one's buying landscapes from her. So she's making good money with portraiture, but not landscapes. And so she says this: individuals just won't buy them. I don't know what to do. So Christine, I brought up my BFA background because this is art, right? This is like being an oil painter. It is the reality that you face, okay? I'm also going to say this. I'm not a landscape photographer. It's not what I do. But I think that you have to come to terms with the fact that you can't do it the same way, right? You can't go out and push weddings out on social media and that kind of stuff, or portraits or whatever you may do, and then do the exact same thing with your landscape stuff. They're two different niches, entirely two different business models. One is a very service-based model, right? When you're serving your clients, you're serving your portrait clients, your brides and grooms, you're a service-based industry. And the other is a fine art-based industry. And they don't operate on the same wavelength. And it sounds like you're trying to operate them both as a service-based industry, and that's why you're encountering roadblocks, because clearly, the art side of things, it's just not lining up. So there's a couple options that I have. You really have to go the route of fine art. You're going to have to go the route of gallery representation. But before even gallery representation, you needed to start exhibiting at shows and at contests. So there's lots of online contests you can be submitting to start getting some traction. But then as well, just shows. It doesn't have to be a private expo for yourself. I don't know your work. Maybe you're not there yet. But even just to exhibit one or two pieces within a collective show could be amazing, and you could potentially sell a piece that way. The next is this. Start to think outside of the box too, in terms of, instead of just selling that digital file or a print of that file, to sell a product, right? And so I've seen photographers do this with great success with iPhone cases, right? Or tapestries, or I don't know. I'm not in that niche, but that could be an option too, where you end up taking your imagery and then actually trying to sell a physical product that's based around the design and styling of that imagery. So that would be another thought that I have for you. I think ultimately, though, just going back, we have to go high level here. I'm all about understanding that you have a blueprint first, and take your time, be slow with the blueprint. So often we as photographers and business owners, we wanted to start pounding nails and driving in screws and cutting the wood when we don't actually have the blueprint laid, okay? And so take your time, slow down, figure out the blueprint for what this is, because currently you're trying to create your fine art landscapes the same way that you're treating your service-based work with portraits, and it's not working. So great question, Christine. Let's keep moving. I think I saw one pop up here. Jason, what's up, man? Rich. Hey, Rich. Australia. Awesome. I live in Australia, and I'm trying to build a wedding. I'm trying to build a wedding photography business here. However, I'm originally from England and would love to be able to do a few weddings a year in the summer over there. How hard would this be to book from the other side of the world while still earning a decent amount per wedding? Hey, Rich, I've done this. Well, so I haven't done it from Australia to England, and I see photographers do this all the time. It's a really great question, man. So let me give you a little bit of background. Again, I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and before we had our daughter, my wife and I sat down and we were like, wouldn't it be so cool if we could go and take a month out of the year and go live somewhere else when Ohio is all like terrible and wintry and horrible? And she was like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Let's go do it. So we set up to go and spend from January to February in Hawaii, and we were going to go live there for a month. And while we were there, we were going to essentially book our weddings to pay for it. At the very least, we just wanted to break even, and we figured out what we needed to do in order to accomplish that. So the first steps is, let me just tell you this, it's very possible to do. There's a couple things that you would just need to do. Luckily, it sounds like for you, maybe you already have some relationships because you're originally from England. I don't know. But I would start with being very, very specific in terms of where you want to target. Where exactly do you want to be shooting in England? And start actually connecting with venues and wedding planners over there. Explain that you're going to be there. And then as well, we went so far as to offer a finder fee, to say like, hey, I know it would take time and energy for you to recommend us to people, and on top of it, we would love to, every time a wedding was booked as a referral from you, we would love to be able to give you a kickback. So maybe it's $100, $200. I don't know. You could work that out. But that's something that you could actually do to incentivize someone to help to kind of push work your way if you're really, really serious about it and you don't have the ability to be super relational at this point. I think obviously it's always better to just get people to love you and to be relational. But if you don't have that connection, like for us, we had no one in Hawaii. We were just like calling people up. We had to be able to show up and deliver on some sort of value there. So that would be an option. You could also begin to target from an SEO standpoint geographical location. So that way you'd be showing up both places. So you could start to target a venue, a very specific venue from an SEO standpoint with keywords and a lot of stuff. Just a quick side note, I'm not going to start going into all the tactics about SEO, but it's a very real strategy that you could use. Two things on that. One is we just did a podcast interview with a guy, Benjamin Turner, and he talked a lot about SEO. I'd encourage you to go back and watch that. We didn't talk about this exact tactic there, but it could maybe get your brain going. And the next thought is this. I am working on a video series for you guys. I'm currently trying to wrap it up, but there's an entire massive chapter in it, chapters plural, on SEO and how we've dominated that and how it can really help your business. And this would be something maybe you could look at in there as well. So those would be some thoughts. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I think too, partnering with other photographers, reaching out to other photographers there. And I think that the big challenge with this is, in all things, you have to always be providing more value than what you're requesting, right? You always have to show up with 51% of the value in everything that you do. And there's a very real challenge when you're on the other side of the world trying to provide 51% of the value. And so you need to figure out what that could look like. And so, I don't know, I guess that's the challenge when you're across the world. How do you do that? I'll keep thinking on that, and I'll let you know my further thoughts. Okay, cool. Amy, I want to be like you and I grew up. Amy, that's so sweet of you, girl. Thanks. All right, let's keep going. Another question here. Let's see this. Elsa says this. I would say the biggest challenge I face as a photographer is competition. I'm from a small town, and there's already so many well-known photographers, and I'm more on the new side. How do I step out? You guys, this is so often this is where we're at, right? We all relate to this. No matter even the photographers who are in the largest market ever, we all relate to this. Everything always feels so small, and there's so many photographers, and there's so much competition. How do you differentiate yourself? How do you stand out, right? And so again, I'm going to keep reiterating it. I'm going to keep pounding this, you guys. You have to provide more value than everybody else around you. That's what's going to differentiate yourself. And one of the easiest, truly it's the easiest, and the best ways to do this is to actually pick up the phone and start giving a damn and calling your clients. I can't say this enough, you guys. When you start doing this, things are going to start to change. And also prioritizing print and in-person sales. And yes, IPS is a way to provide value, guys. When you do it right, when your heart is there, it is an amazing way to provide value. I've had so many clients of ours who actually will hire us because we don't just give away all the digital files, but we want them and we need them to have something better than digital files, right? We need them to have print. Every single collection comes with prints. It comes with an album, right? I need them to have something real and tangible that they can hand down, that they can have on their daughter's wedding, that they can put up in their house, so that way when their little girl wakes up from a nap and she's 2 years old and she can't quite say everything that she says, she gets to just point at that image and just say like, Dada, mama, like me, like, and she gets to know that she's loved. There's so much value there. That you guys, two things: pick up the damn phone and start prioritizing prints with your clients. Man, the reality is there's so many photographers out there and so few of you guys are doing it. So few are doing it. That's it. Hey, Emily, what's up, girl? I really enjoyed the SEO podcast. Sweet. Dude, yeah, Benjamin Turner was incredible on the SEO podcast. SEO is so boring, let's just be real. It just is, and he did a great job talking about it really in a way that I felt like was understandable and was approachable as a photographer. So I'm glad that you related, Emily. Super cool. All right, I think I got one more question that came in earlier. It's a really tricky one, and I don't have great experience with it, and so I will offer my opinion. And we'll go from there. Bring in some others as I finish this one up. This one came from Diana. Diana's in a really unique situation, you guys. She is a military spouse, which means that she changes location every 2 to 3 years. And so she wants to start a business, but she's like worried. She's worried and scared. She needs courage to start a business because she's fearful of two things. The main one is rebuilding a client base. And then secondly, all the various tax laws for every state. Let's start with the easy one, the tax laws one. You shouldn't be messing with your taxes, you guys. I'll just come out and say it. The money that you think you're saving by not working with an accountant is you're losing money. You're losing money for a couple reasons. One is from time, the amount of time that you're wasting, the amount of stress that it's causing your life is having deep effects in your business and your life. So maybe not though. Maybe this is like your wheelhouse. For me, it's a great weakness of mine, and I know that stress hurts me so badly. But the next thing is this, you guys. My first year in business, I did not have an accountant. I was like, I got this. I don't have money for an accountant. And I went and I tried to do everything along the way. And then by the next year, when I did bring in an accountant, because I was so stressed out and I spent so much time doing it, it cost me more money to have them go back and fix all the mistakes that I made than if I would have just hired them the first time from the get-go. Okay, like work with a great accountant and know this too. They don't have to be. My accountant is like 3 hours away from where we live. They don't have to be right where you're at. So you could have an accountant that you're working with based out of where you're currently at. But it's like 2016. Like you can go move across the country and still work with the same person. Okay, you oftentimes don't need to go and be meeting like in an office. All right, and if they're saying that, then I don't know, maybe it's not the best accountant situation. All right, cool. The next problem is rebuilding a client base. Look, there's no sugarcoating this. If you're moving every 2 to 3 years, you're going to have to rebuild a client base, okay? But I'll say this, man, what other job gives you the luxury that you could actually pull this off? I mean, I don't really know. I'm not sure what other like small business you could do that would give you the flexibility to do this, but it is possible. It would take work, but it is possible to do, especially if you know ahead of time where you're going to be moving to, right? So if you know where you're going to be moving to, you can start to lay a foundation and start to plant seeds so that way when you arrive, you can get things ramped up and going. The very first thing that I guess I would encourage you to do when you arrive at a new location, and this is what I would do if I was just arriving in a new location, is I would just start shooting. I would start shooting for free, to be quite honest, not for clients, but for vendors. I would start connecting with other vendors, other professionals, and start doing headshots and start doing room shots. And I would go to all the venues that I would do as research, and I would find the most amazing venues. And right now it's fall time, and I would say, hey, look, can I come and take some new images because of all the trees are gorgeous now and your website needs updated? Can I give you those? And I wouldn't put my watermark on it. I would just focus on relationship, not try to like take and just give this little, oh man, that little watermark. I need that watermark. Nah, you need relationships, people. And so go and give and go shoot for free for other vendors, right? Partner with other photographers, offer to do headshots, offer to make them a promo video, right? That is what's going to scale and ramp up new work and new business in the most cost-effective way. And it's going to get you familiar with the space. It's going to get you familiar with people, spaces, environments, work that you're going to need to be photographing all the time. That's what I would do. And it'll take work. It'll take work, but I think you can do it. I really think you can do it, especially with a 2 to 3 year window. I think you can pull it off. Hopefully 2 years. I don't know if you're in portraits or weddings, but you could do it. And I mean, I guess the other really healthy way to think about this is, what's the alternative, Diana? I mean, is the alternative every time you move, you get a new day job somewhere else? I don't know. You could do that. And maybe you do it once, maybe like, there's an off year where you're like, you know what, this is hard. I'm going to just do a day job and go do that. All power to you. But the great thing about what we do as photographers is you could start it back up. You could start back up next month. You could start it back up today. If you're feeling like junk and you're feeling like, man, I just don't know about this day job situation, you could start it back up today. So there you go. Let's keep seeing. I think a couple of the thoughts came in. Jason says this: the first call with the client is always the toughest. Any insight you could provide? Rich, I'm glad you, yeah, thanks, man. Jason, yes. The first conversation is always the hardest. Every single time it's the hardest. So insight that I can provide. For starters, oh wait, you just added. Also, a big congratulations to you, Ben. I caught the post you were tagged in today. Cool, man. Jason, go watch that video. If you're on my Facebook page, I put a little video up of my girl. My daughter just turned 2, and I think it's pretty fun. We announced it there as well. Anyhow, Jason, so when calling a client, it is hard. It's especially hard, I think, for many people because we don't have practice on the phone anymore. So often we're texting and we're chatting that way. And so my encouragement is practice. Start calling your friends, start calling people and just actually talking. When you get a text from someone, go ahead and call them. Like, honestly, it's all like life is just practice, showing up and putting in the work. So do that. The next thing is, I do have some ideas of, it's not quite a script. I think that conversations get really clunky when they turn into a script. The best conversations that you have with a person occur that are genuine and that you actually are curious about them. Like, think about conversations with friends. They're not scripted. So change your mindset. Change your mindset to be approaching your phone calls not as scripted conversations, but as you're calling a friend. So you have to be genuinely curious and interested in them. That's one of the first things, is really getting your head around that. So stop thinking about all the right things to say about your work and your business and your pricing and all that kind of stuff, and just ask really genuine questions for them, and make sure those questions are open-ended. My favorite question, I'll end on this. My favorite question to ask is a very open-ended question, especially with wedding clients. One of the questions I see all the time that I hate is, oh my gosh, you're engaged. How did he do it? Tell me the engagement story. How long ago did he propose? Those questions, you guys, are so boring. They're so deadpan, and that bride has been answering that question left and right to every other person, and she's going to give you the same rehearsed answer, right? And it gets you, it really doesn't get you anywhere. If she wants to talk about it, she can, but ask this question instead. Hey, what's your story? I know this is a huge question, but I want to know more about you guys. What's your story? When you ask a question like that that's open-ended, what's your story? That couple, that person on the other end of the phone, they're going to tell you whatever it is that they give a damn about, right? That question will get you such a wide range on the spectrum of answers. You might get a bride who tells you, when you ask the question of what's your story, she might start telling you about her wedding dress and how they just went wedding dress shopping. It was the most amazing thing ever. You guys, that bride loves her wedding dress, right? Like, they might start telling you about the engagement story. That's great. Go for that. But don't give them some pigeonholed question of tell me about how you guys got engaged. Start broad, and whatever they talk about, keep going deeper and focus in. There's a concept out there of 5 levels of why, and to keep asking why, and not like that. You sound like a kid who's just asking his mom why, but rather ask other intriguing questions that dig deeper into their answers. When they tell you, man, I just love my wife. She's so caring, right? Everyone says these really generalized, vague statements like, "What do you love about your fiance?" They're just so caring. He just takes good care of me. He's so respectful. He's so loving. Like, ask this question: what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Right? Dig deeper. Don't just settle for these vague answers, you guys. Okay, there's your help, man. Hopefully that helps you out, Jason. Jason, check out episode 24 of Six Figure Live. Emily, good looking out, girl. That's so rad of you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for showing up. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate the hell out of you guys. Like, thanks for asking these questions and being so encouraging. I'm getting ready. I'm heading out to United to drop some value bombs on some people. And so I'm super excited for that. I'll make sure to still hang out with you guys and give you some recap of what goes on at United. I'm going to be photographing an Indian wedding tomorrow, massive Indian wedding. So I'm very stoked about that. And hopefully you guys are shooting as well. Keep at it, you guys. Remember, I'm going to say this again. We just put together a little image graphic of it. But please, 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 when you see the brand Six Figure Photography, when you see my face, when you see that logo, when you think about how do I make this business sustainable, how do I bring in more money, how do I actually live out this dream job, remember this fact. Your income is a direct result of how much value you give your clients. Don't forget that, you guys. Don't forget that. Like, it doesn't matter. You could do all the things in the world, but if you're not serving your clients well, what's the point? Cheers, you guys. Bye.